What's up, everybody? Welcome to Space Arena Ground Arena, where we cover Star Wars Unlimited from the ground up into space. I'm BananaCrapshoot. I'm here doing another video. I'm going to try to do more videos for us on top of the podcast and articles. These will ramp up, I'm sure, more as the game goes on. But so last week I posted a video called it Banana Builds. It was a deck tech video about Sabine with Cunning. And then a couple of days later, so another deck tech video by Unplayable, running the same, not the same list, but the same combination, a lot of the same cards. Saw another deck tech video, I forget by who, and then, talking Discord and stuff. So Sabine currently is the boogeyman. Very fast, very hard to deal with. I saw a deck list, somebody commented on the video about Sabine's been solved with this Iden deck. Sabine just had won every match, every best of 3 against that Iden deck that we played. There is a deck list, though. The point of this video is called Solving Sabine. So it's about game plans and strategies to dealing with Sabine currently. And I think based on the packs we've seen, Sabine is going to be a strong contender in the set 1 meta. We have roughly 70% of the cards. But Sabine flows really well already. If anything, it's just probably going to get better. So I think if Sabine's going to be heavy in the meta, which I kind of think it will be, some ways we can try to deal with the Sabine deck. So real quick, I'm not going to go over, this isn't a deck tech video, but highlights of Sabine, what Sabine does well. What Sabine does really well is play cheap, efficient units that buff each other to deal extra damage. And then Sabine deals damage to your opponent's base or to the opponent's base that they cannot prevent. You can mitigate some of it with restore effects, but between Sabine pings on the unit and the leader, between For a Cause I Believe In and pings from Fighters for Freedom, there's a lot of extra sources of damage that can come our way that we cannot deal with as the opponent to Sabine. Because we cannot prevent that damage, right? We can't shield our base. Most of the games are going for board control, so we need ways to deal with Sabine that, to try to protect us a little bit. So that's the point of this video. We're going to try to solving Sabine together here. So I do have a deck I'm going to go over that I've been playing that has had good success into Sabine. I wouldn't say it's like a 75-25 win rate. It's close to 50-50. I think with 1 or 2 more cards, it could be maybe even favored into Sabine. But I think one thing we need to think about when playing Sabine does not care about her own base health. She's only worried about burning yours. So I think if we're going to be playing into a Sabine heavy meta, even though some of the effects are good, a 30 health base giving us an extra 5 health could be relevant. Another thing you can do to be successful against Sabine is don't let her units attack you. A lot of her units buff each other, right? Benthic 2 tubes give something raid 2, right? Red 3 gives all their heroism units raid 1. So between the raids, the buffing, the fleet lieutenants, right? They're gonna try to deal explosive power, and then with keep fighting, they can ready a unit that's gonna get buffed. So the best way to deal with Sabine is to just not let them attack at all through bounce effects, through exhaust effects, through positive trades that keep your units on the board. A lot of Sabine units are small. 2 or 3 health most of the time. There's like 4 units with 4 health. So playing units that we can positively trade into Sabine, because a lot of them will have low attack because they're getting their attack power through raiding. So 30 health bases, I think, is something you should consider. And don't let Sabine's units attack you. So the one that I have built that I had published, I did tweak a little bit, called Sarlacc Bait. You can find the older version of this on the DB. This version is not published yet. But I'm running the 30 health base here. And then I have Asteroid Sanctuary in here instead of, I think, Snapshot Reflexes. So the main game plan with this deck into Sabine is exhaust the crap out of all the little units, and then attack with my stuff and take positive trades and go from there. So just real quick, this isn't a deck tech video. I'm gonna play it some more, but maybe this is probably do its own deck tech video at some point. But start off with Greo, 3 power, 1 health, shoot first. Shoot first is a card that is good at leveraging positive trades for us if we're playing against Sabine. Shoot first to Greo can take out anything on the opponent's side, right? So shoot first is pretty strong into Sabine units because a lot of them are low health, and we can take care of it. Next up is the TIE Fighter, and then we're moving on. The Cartel Spacer is really good from round 2 on because we'll always have yellow cards in play for the most part, so we can always get the exhaust. No Good to Me Dead, you want a mulligan for, you want to have this in your hand once on round 3 when Sabine's going to deploy on 4 resources so that you can put Sabine on ice for 2 turns. Very strong. If you put Sabine on ice for 2 turns, most of the time you're going to win that game. In my experience. Then we have the Crafty Smugglers, another way we can make some positive trades because we're shielded. We come in protected from damage from one source, so we can swing into something and trade and keep our unit on the board. Then we have Asteroid Sanctuary, so this is another way we can shield some of our own weenies, and then we can exhaust any enemy unit. Shield our own dust stuff. So another way to exhaust. Then we have Surprise Strike. Everyone knows, great card, +3 damage. Snow Trooper Lieutenant. We have enough Imperials in this deck. It's kind of the back half of our Cunning Suite is the Imperial Suite. So Snow Trooper Lieutenant, Viper Probe Droid, Cell Block Guard, General Veers with the TIE Fighters and the 7th Fleet Defender is our little Imperial package. So Snow Trooper has enough targets that it's worth running. Viper Probe Droid is, 3 power on it, 2 cost units, pretty good. And we get to look at our opponent's hand so we can kind of know what to expect and know what's coming. 3 cost Boba Fett is a great unit that on attack is so sweet. Really helps with board control and, really strong. 7th Fleet Defender, another way we can deal with like Red 3 because this thing comes in shielded. Bodhi Rook is really good. 3 cost, 3 power. Double Cunning. When played, look at an opponent's hand and discard a non-unit card from it. So this allows us to pull the Keep Fightings. This allows us to pull Spark of Rebellion. This allows us to pull Metal Ceremony if we need to. If we're afraid of that, which you shouldn't really be. Allows you to pull 4 Cause I Believe In, which is the big one. 4 Cause I Believe In and Spark of Rebellion. And Keep Fighting are the 3 targets you're really looking for. 4 Cause I Believe In first, I would say. But, being able to remove that event, that's going to deal damage to us that we can't prevent. So Bodhi. Cell Block Guard, force their units if you miss on some exhaust effects or you can't make positive trades, your Cell Block Guard is there to protect your base somewhat. The General Veers buffs all our Imperial package, including Cell Block Guard, Bodhi, and our 7th Fleet Defender. So General Veers out there just buffs the complementary units in our deck. Cunning is a big one. Return a non-leader unit with 4 or less power to its owner's hand. Give a unit +4 power for this phase. Exhausts up to 2 units or opponent discards a unit card. Most of the time, I've been exhausting 2 units and giving my own unit +4 power. While bounce effects do trigger the leader Boba Fett's ability to ready resources, I have been liking bounce effects less and less as I have played games. I'm a much bigger fan for some reason in my own head, which probably isn't right, but I feel like exhausting is a better way to handle board control than bouncing units, which is probably completely wrong. But if I bounce a unit, they can still play that unit again. and I might have healed that unit depending on the situation. So I don't use the bounce much. Most of the time it's exhausting. And the buff Bosk we got here, right? Ambush, and when we play an event, he deals 2 damage to something. So Bosk, pretty strong, helps with board control because he can take out anything our opponent's going to have in Sabine. And then the fire spray is just a menace, comes in ready, 5 power, and then the following rounds for 2 resources you can exhaust a non-unique unit. So overall, what I'm looking for early is a No Good to Me Dead. I love Greo early. I want to see Boba Fett early. I'm okay with the Smuggler. I'm okay with the TIE Fighter. I would love to see an Asteroid Sanctuary or a Shoot First also to help with some sort of board control really early to try to get ahead and control the board early. And then, I love exhaust effects like Asteroid Sanctuary and then Cartel Spacer on units, and then No Good to Me Dead on Sabine. So keep Sabine on ice with No Good to Me Dead. Use your exhaust effects on stuff like stuff with Raid is really where you want to hit the exhaust effects on those units that have Raid. And then with your 30 health base, putting Sabine on ice and not letting their units attack because we're going to have we're going to trade into them with efficiency and shields and shoot first. And the amount of exhausting we're going to have between Asteroid Sanctuary, Cartel Spacer, Cunning, and potentially the Fire Spray, we can control the battlefield and just overwhelm Sabine, because if their units can't attack, obviously they're not doing any damage. So they're going to, they're not going to get they can get buffs from Fighters for Freedom attacking, but we're really limiting the raid capability and the amount of pinging damage they can do with the Sabine units and Sabine leader if we keep them iced. So you really want to ice the Sabine. No Good to Me Dead for Sabine leader. And then the Sabine unit is a really good target for your Spacer and Asteroid Sanctuaries, as well as Cunning. And then like to trade out Red 3 as soon as possible. And the Fighters for Freedom, if you can shoot first the Fighters for Freedom out, that's great. So you're removing that ping damage, right? We can't prevent it, but we can try to mitigate it. So No Good to Me Dead is probably the biggest card to see, so you can keep the Sabine unit on ice. And then play smart, and you should fare pretty well. So it's called, like I said, Sarlacc Bait. This version has not been published. Maybe I'll do a tech deck video about it. But the older version has Jeddah City and doesn't have Asteroid Sanctuary. It has Snapshot Reflexes instead. But the shielding off Asteroid Sanctuary, right? We can shield most of our units, right? Shielding Boba Fett, giving Bodhi a shield, giving our Cell Block Guard a shield. All that stuff is super relevant. So the Cell Block Guard is another way to mitigate. They can get pings if it's a Sabine unit or Sabine leader, but it does help protect our base. So having the Cell Block Guard is nice, especially if we can exhaust and get a shield on it and soak up more hits. If we can't make positive trades with our other stuff. So you shoot first to get value trades, shield your units to protect them, to try to win the battlefield game. Yeah, don't forget about your Boba Fett units on attack ability to help remove units. You can trigger your Boba Fett, and then once you get your Boba Fett leader deployed, and you have Sabine on ice, that's pretty rough. That's hard for them to deal with. A 7 health Boba Fett with another unit or 2, and all their stuff's exhausted. They can't. A lot of Sabine decks have removed they might be running like Waylay, and they'll have some of their own exhaust effects, but a lot of them have removed like Open Fire, which I think is a mistake because that's like the only deck removal spell Sabine has access to at this point, unless she's running blue, which maybe we'll have to look into that at some point. But a lot of them have been mono red or Cunning in Sabine. So yeah, so that's it. Deal with Sabine. Keep Sabine on ice. try to have more health than them. They don't care about their health, but we do. Use your units and your exhaust effects to control the battlefield. But yeah, most of the time Sabine's going to stop at 4 or 5 resources. We can get to 6, 7 once we get the Boba Fett leader out. It's really, really hard for Sabine at that point if they're not really far ahead on damage. Sabine can still get in early and get ahead early where it's hard for us to catch up. But if you see No Good to Me dead and like 1 or 2 more exhaust effects in the first couple rounds, you should be in pretty good shape. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. But this is solving Sabine. So I'm BananaCrapshoot, and we'll see you in the